Busan, South Korea's largest port city and a key logistics hub in Northeast Asia. Busan has successfully hosted a number of large international events, emerging as a global hub for meetings and events industry. Busan has been selected as the host city of the 2019 ASEAN-Republic of Korea Commemorative Summit, once again following its hosting in 2014. ASEAN is an intergovernmental organization comprising 10 Southeast Asian countries. With a population of 650 million, ASEAN boasts a combined GDP of $3 trillion and a trade volume of $2.9 trillion. With its dynamic economy and vibrant growth, the ASEAN region has been gaining prominence as a land of opportunity and harmony. South Korea has been making various efforts to forge closer ties and boost exchanges with the ASEAN through its new Southern policy.
신남방 정책은 대한민국 국가 발전 전략의 핵심입니다. 아세안은 세계 어느 지역보다 성장이 빠르고 앞으로 성장 잠재력도 매우 큽니다. 우리는 아세안과 함께 아시아의 평화와 공동 번영의 미래를 열어야 합니다.
The 2019 ASEAN-Republic of Korea Commemorative Summit will be an opportunity to witness South Korea's determination to cooperate with members of the ASEAN, as well as ASEAN's strong trust and support for South Korea. Partnership for peace, prosperity for the people. We discuss South Korean-ASEAN ties live here at the 2019 ASEAN-Republic of Korea Commemorative Summit in Busan. It's Tuesday, November the 26th. I'm Kanyang Jennifer Moon, Chief Editor and previously the Chief Presidential Office Correspondent for the Republic of Korea for Arirang TV. And this is a special edition of Foreign Correspondents coming to you from the International Media Center of the 2019 ASEAN-Republic of Korea Commemorative Summit. Well, the International Media Center is hustling and bustling with journalists, reporters, broadcasters, and media personnel from not only the ASEAN member states as well as the Republic of Korea, but from all across the world. And this port city of Busan is also bustling with the traveling press corps of each of the 9 leaders of the ASEAN participating in this event. So coming to you live from the International Media Center of the 2019 ASEAN-Republic of Korea Commemorative Summit, meet the Foreign Press Corps. Let's now turn to our panelists for some analysis of the Summit 2019 through the eyes of the foreign press. Now, Virginia Arcilla AGTAY, she's part of the Philippines Presidential Press Corps and director of the Philippine News Agency. Pham Man Hung covers Asia for Vietnamese News Agency. And last but not least, Joran Vezer, he also covers Northeast Asia as well as the ASEAN for the Netherlands Volkskrant. All right, so I know you guys have been working around the clock. I certainly am already beat from covering the summit, leading up to the summit and the last few days of the summit. What stories have you guys been writing about for this summit? I know, Virginia, you've had your hands full with not only the coverage of this summit, but also the bilateral summit between President Duterte and President Moon. So what's been your focus so far?
It's basically about the solidarity and the mutual aid that has been sustained between the Philippines and the Republic of Korea, and how both leaders appreciated each other's deep cooperation with each other. And also, a very interesting concern, and that Filipinos are very interested about, is about the free visa policy that is on the drawing board between the government of the Philippines and the government of Republic of Korea.
Well, definitely the visa issue is something that will affect the average Filipinos, right? So that's definitely something that's a big interest in your country.
Yes, definitely, because based on statistics, there has been a steady increase of Filipinos going to Korea. As everyone knows in the Philippines that both Koreans and Filipinos love, each other's country very much, and especially in terms of culture and food and all other things. So with the increasing number of Filipinos going to Korea, as already mentioned by Ambassador Han Dong-man, they are considering easing the process of tourist visas for Filipinos. But there is a condition. I mean, there is an impediment right now on that, mentioning about the 15,000 illegal Filipino migrants in Korea.
Now, Manhung, your bilateral, so between your president and President Moon Jae-in, takes place back in Seoul after this multilateral wraps up. But as for summit coverage, what's been your focal point? What's been the primary focus of your stories?
Yes, actually, I have a busy time here. Yesterday, I wrote two articles. One is about International Development Cooperation Days, and the other story is about the exhibition on public service innovation. My first story is about Development Cooperation Days. I think is very significant event, gathering around 300 participants from Republic of Korea, from ASEAN countries, and just in the event, Vietnam, Philippines, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia signed a memorandum of understanding with Republic of Korea to boost up the development cooperation between the two sides. Mm-hmm. I think that is will narrow the development gap between ASEAN members and as well as between ASEAN and South Korea.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah. Now, I want to get to Jordan. I'm sure your coverages are different from those from the ASEAN members, or even myself as representing the Republic of Korea. As a reporter from a country not directly involved in this multilateral summit, what's been the gist of your story so far?
Well, I think it's no secret that Southeast Asia is a region which is developing very fast. I mean, there's a growth rate of about 5%. Half of the population is under 30 years old. There's a fast rising middle class. So I think for Europeans, there's an interest in how to invest in Southeast Asia. And I think with some fascination, we're looking at South Korea, who are trying to become less dependent from their main trading partners like China and the US by investing massively in trade and cooperation with Southeast Asia. And looking at the business expo here, just a few hundred meters away, it's just fascinating how many booths are filled with people doing business. So I think it's for Europe, it's also a lesson for my readers to look at the possibilities that Southeast Asia are giving us.
Well, over the last 2.5 years in office, President Moon Jae-in has been pursuing upgraded relations between the Republic of Korea and the ASEAN under the banner of the new Southern policy. That policy is to upgrade relations with the ASEAN to be on par with South Korea's traditionally four key major partners, which are US, China, Japan, and Russia. Now, covering bilateral relations between South Korea and your respective countries, have you guys felt or witnessed the two-way relations pick up resilience over the last few years? Virginia.
Yeah. Over the last 2 years, yes, it is evidenced by the number of tourists in the Philippines. For 2019 alone, from January to September, there has been 1.6 million Koreans who went to the Philippines. That is more than 20% an increase from the same period as last year. And Filipinos could see more Koreans in the country. Actually, there are 93,000 Koreans living in the Philippines, as well as 53,000 Filipinos living in Korea. And also for trade, both countries have deepened, trade relations. Korea being the fourth largest trade partner of the Philippines, and also Korea is the Philippines' biggest. The number of Korean tourists is the biggest share of the total tourist arrivals in the country.
Manhung, do you want to
Yes.
weigh in?
As you know, the relation between Vietnam and Republic of Korea are in very good relation. We both two countries have very good relation in terms of economies, cultures, people-to-people exchange, sport cooperation. I think in every field we can see that South Korea is the number one investor in Vietnam, and the trade, the bilateral two-way trade is reached 65 billion US dollar, and the two countries will try to raise the trade turnover by the year 2020 to 100 billion US dollars. Yes.
Ambitious it is.
And last year, I remember that there are 3.5 million Korean people visited Vietnam. Yes.
Now, Jordan, does the Netherlands also view the ASEAN as an increasingly important region? I mean, has your country been shifting your focus or architecting new strategies geared towards the ASEAN region?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we look at it from a perspective from the European Union as well, and what you see is, according to estimates, Southeast Asia will be the third biggest economic bloc in the world by 2030. So what the European Union is trying to do is get a trade deal with the economic bloc, with the ASEAN. These negotiations are going onwards. And meanwhile, the Netherlands and also other countries have made a deal with Vietnam and Singapore in order to make trade easier. And I mean, our Prime Minister from the Netherlands visited Vietnam last year. He's just been to Indonesia. So there's a lot of interest in the region, and a lot of that has to do with trade.
Well, as someone who's covered President Moon during his first year in office and delivering South Korean news to the rest of the world, I can say that not only is the ASEAN the favorite tourist destination for South Koreans, and also the second largest export destination, the ASEAN has emerged as a key partner of the Republic of Korea in various fields. Now, all 10 members of the ASEAN have deep ties with North and South Korea. All the ASEAN leaders have pledged full support for President Moon Jae-in's Korean Peninsula Peace Initiative. Of course, Vietnam, along with Singapore, hosted the the first two summits between U.S. and North Korea. Between us, the journalists, was it any disappointment that North Korean Chairman Kim Jong-un decided not to join this multilateral summit this time? I mean, personally, I'm, yes, disappointed, but also a little relieved. I mean, think about the workload that would have doubled and tripled for us had he come to the summit. But Jordan, how do you feel?
Well, sure, it would have been a lot of work, but it would also had been exciting. But I mean, to be honest, it was a little bit unrealistic that he would come. If you look at relationships between South Korea and North Korea since the summit in Hanoi, it's not really going well. It seems that North Korea is trying to push South Korea in giving them more economic cooperation without the approval of the US. And South Korea isn't just willing to do that. So it seems a little bit in a deadlock at the moment. And therefore, I don't think it was realistic for Kim Jong-un to come all the way to Busan.
Man-Hung, of course, we know that Vietnam is an active supporter of bringing the DPRK out to the rest of the world, as witnessed by your successful hosting of the U.S.-North Korea summit. How do you feel?
I think that Vietnam have already tried its best to bring about peace on the Korean Peninsula, because Vietnam has now we have still good relation with North Korea and now also we have good relation with South Korea. So we try my best to be a link, a bridge between North Korea and South Korea. Yes.
Virginia, we know that the leaders of the ASEAN members and President Moon Jae-in are currently discussing the Korean Peninsula Peace Initiative during the retreat luncheon happening right now. Do you think the leaders will be able to come up with something substantial at the end of this luncheon and at the end of this ASEAN Republic of Korea Commemorative Summit?
Hopefully, yes, they could arrive at something substantial pertaining to the security in the region. But it would have been more realistic and within reach if North Korea is present during that meeting.
Now, I want to shift gears. What's also very much worth noting is the spread of soft power between ASEAN and the Republic of Korea. Of course, K-pop is huge in the ASEAN, and there are more increasing number of Southeast Asians joining Korean boy bands and girl groups and debuting in the Republic of Korea. There's also been an increase in the people-to-people exchange. I think Man-Hung mentioned that the South Koreans visiting Vietnam, but as of 2018, the number of South Koreans who visited the ASEAN topped 11 million, and like Virginia said, there are some 600,000 Southeast Asians currently living in South Korea. So closer ties between South Korea and ASEAN are also leading to the ASEAN's exponential interest in the Korean culture as well as the Korean language. For this special coverage, our team at the Foreign Correspondents went to meet a Thai student, a 19-year-old Thai student learning the Korean language.
Busan National University in South Korea's southeastern port city. A Korean language class is in full session at the university's Language Education Institute. The entire class is completely immersed in learning the Korean language, but one student appears particularly passionate.
고민 또는 걱정. 자, 요즘에 어떤 고민들이 있어요?
내년에 고등학교 졸업하고 나서 대학에 갈 거예요. 아, 맞나요?
맞아요. 하고 나서.
하고 나서.
잘했어.
제 태국 이름은 벳라다 가오깨이고요. 한국 이름은 강다빈이라고 합니다. 의미는 많은다, 빛날빈, 다빈이고요. 제가 항상 밝고 항상 웃음이 좀 뭐랄까 쉽게 나와서
Dabin's passion in learning the Korean language while enjoying the Korean culture back home has earned her the opportunity for a month-long immersion program in South Korea. In attendance at the event were the First Ladies of South Korea and Thailand, Kim Jong-suk and Narampo Chanocha. With roughly 40,000 students enrolled in Korean language classes, Thailand boasts the largest number of Korean learners in the world.
사실은 K-pop 때문에 아이돌 때문에 관심 많이 있어서 한국어를 공부하게 되었어요. 엑소에서 백현지 알아요? 백현지 좋아해요. 진짜로 제일 좋아하는 사람. 태국 사람들이 한국에 대해서 관심이 진짜 많이 있어요. 점점 올라가요.
An increasing number of people from the ASEAN countries are following suit, taking interest in the Korean language as well as culture.
우리 문화가 미래 산업으로 이어지도록 하겠습니다. 방탄소년단을 비롯한 K-팝, 드라마 등 한류 문화에 세계인들이 열광하고 있습니다. 우리 문화의 저력입니다.
Dabin says that she started to learn the Korean language because of her interest in K-pop at first, but has since been exposed to other parts of Korean studies.
수고하셨습니다.
진짜 태국 올라가기 싫어요. 그래서 내년에 저의 계획은 여기서 다시 올 겁니다. 꼭 올 거예요. 하나, 둘, 셋.
What may have been sparked by the sudden popularity of K-pop appears to be here to stay, hopefully encouraging more people from the ASEAN to build friendly relations with South Korea.
Well, I certainly hope Tabin comes back to South Korea from Thailand. Is this the case for many of you in the Philippines or Vietnam or Netherlands? Tell me about your interest in the Korean culture, K-pop, that led to the interest in the Korean language. Virginia.
Yeah. Filipinos love Korean culture so much. Almost, I see young people, millennials, loving K-pop, the bands. Even my own daughter love BTS, and some restaurants, Korean restaurants are all over. I mean, you see them almost everywhere in the Philippines. And pertaining to language, the Department of Education in the Philippines has planned to integrate into the grade school curriculum the Korean language. And in fact, in November last year, the Department of Education has released a list of 10 schools that would be the pilot areas for the learning of Korean language. And this is in consonance to the agreement signed between Korean Embassy and the Philippines in 2017. On culture, it's widespread in the Philippines. Going back, aside from K-pop, food, there are also Korean products and cosmetics that Filipinos love so much.
What about in Vietnam? I also know that the Vietnamese have a Korean idol of themselves. soccer coach, football coach Park Hang-seo, right?
Right.
What's the Korean language boom like in Vietnam? And tell us about Park Hang-seo's status in Vietnam.
Yes, Mr. Park Hang-seo is, I can say that he's very, very famous in Vietnam now, because football is the king sport, #1 sport in Vietnam. From the little kid to the old people watch sports. And after many success, Mr. Park Hang-seo bring about for Vietnam national soccer team. So every people in Vietnam respect him. Yes, yeah, he's very famous in Vietnam.
What's the sentiment like in the Netherlands?
I mean, we love BTS as well. I mean, I think the concert last year was sold out in 2 or 3 seconds. K-pop is also hugely popular in the Netherlands. But also, if you look at the Korean studies, we have a famous Korean studies faculty at the University of Leiden. And they are getting more and more students who want to learn Korean and about Korean culture, and who eventually come here to work or to study. So yeah, you can see a significant increase of interest in Korea.
So a growing interest from all these countries, not only the ASEAN members, but also all the way in Europe and the Netherlands. How do people in your respective countries feel about working for a Korean company or working in Korea? Man-hung.
Yes, as you know, many Vietnamese guest workers here work for Korean companies, and the number of workers work for Korean companies in Vietnam is also rising, because now there are many Korean companies operating in Vietnam, and most of the workers I already talked to them, and they said that they feel happy when they have chance to work for Korean companies. Yes.
And the Philippines, Virginia, very briefly.
There are 53,000 Filipinos working in Korea, so that that explains that Filipinos, love, working with Korean employers. And also, in the Philippines back home, there are many Filipinos working for Korean employers. And from what I heard, they love and they are very contented working with generous Korean employers.
Well, as much as I'd love to continue these discussions, half an hour is all that we're allowed. So this is our foreign correspondent's signature question. The headline that you would write, headlines for today or for this summit. I'm going to start with Joran.
I would say the headline for this summit is it's business time.
It's business time. Good one. Man-hung?
My headlines will be a new chapter in Korean and ASEAN relation.
Absolutely. And Virginia?
My title would be ASEAN Take Ties with Korea Further Forward.
Excellent. They're all related to ASEAN and the Republic of Korea relations. And as much as I said, as much as I'd like to continue discussions, that's all we have. So that wraps up our Meet the Foreign Press, coming to you live from the main venue of the 2019 ASEAN Republic of Korea Commemorative Summit. But I'll be back next week with our regular session of Foreign Correspondents. So I'll see you then. Thank you and bye-bye. Thank you, guys. Yeah, that was
나는 아세안의 무한한 잠재력과 하나된 힘을 믿습니다. 또한 사람 중심의 평화와 번영의 공동체